गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। So we saw we are in Amrit Anubhav, chapter 2, Sri Guru Stavana, Glory of the Guru, verse 39, OV 39. And last week we saw Guru can never become the object of knowledge, being the very core of our personality. Every name and form should be understood to be the manifestation of the Sadguru, and the Guru Tattva is therefore the ability of the seeker to receive the message from any event or situation or person. He is not an individual to whom one clings. See? This is the knowledge, that the Atma Tattva is the substratum of every name and form is the true salutation to the Guru. See, similar we did today's meditation, that he is not an individual to whom one clings. Just like Guru is not an individual, we are also not an individual. We are essentially the infinite Atma, infinite self. But because we are so obsessed with our name and our form and our mind, we start considering ourselves to be something that we are not. And it is just a shift. It's just a shift. Just like the husband stops being a husband and becomes a father. No sadhana was required. Then he moves on to be the son. Still no sadhana required. Same way, right now we are individual because our perception is of the conditionings. That's why we are an individual. Let the perception be of the infinite. There you are. Nothing needs to be done. How beautiful. Never thought of it that way. As long as we are perceiving the finite, individuality will precipitate. When we perceive or think or contemplate, become available to the infinite, there you are. Individuality dissolves. So in this way, here the Jnaneshwar Maharaj is saying that Guru is not just the form. Yes, for some people Guru is the form. For some people God is the form. For some people Guru is the essential self that they are, which is the substratum, which is the common denominator for everything in this creation. And this, where is this whole creation? It's only appearing in that Guru Tattva. It is only appearing in the self. It doesn't have a status of permanence. The status of permanence is only for the Guru Tattva or the self. How does this happen? The Guru does not allow himself to be limited by any name and form. Does that mean that he accepts the disciple? What will be your answer? Does the Guru accept the disciple? I'm asking. Don't read. Does the Guru accept the disciple?
As himself, Swamiji.
Ah?
As himself.
Okay. Anyone else?
There is no disciple for in terms of Guru, Swamiji. It's all the same. Wouldn't
Oh,
it be?
okay. Anyone else? Does he accept the disciple? Both are correct. Others are still thinking what others are going to say. From the space point of view, the total space point of view, or the infinite space point of view, is there a room space? No. From the water point of view, is there an ocean and wave? No. So from Guru Tattva point of view, is there a disciple? No. Everything is he alone, or the self alone, or the Tattva alone. जीव घेतलिया उणे चालो नेणसी साजणे भृत्य उरे स्वामीपणे तेही नव्हे. Without destroying his individuality, you know not about being friendly with the disciple, nor do you allow him to exist as a Guru. O Guru Maharaj, your ways are strange. Unless you suck life out of the disciple, you are not satisfied. Just like when you are thinking about the sleep until it has not sucked the life out of the waker, you have not merged into sleep, isn't it? Just like till the man has been not sucked, overpowered completely by the woman, till then he is not a husband. And vice versa. Same way. O Guru Maharaj, your ways are strange. Unless you suck life out of the disciple, you are not satisfied. So the eternal journey of the whole universe is what? To get back to the original. What is the journey of every individual? Every individual. Is it waking, dream, sleep, waking, dream, sleep, waking, dream, sleep? That is happening by itself anyway. But observe what else is happening. That there is a natural urge in everyone to be free, to be swatantra. That natural urge to be free is making us come to satsang, is making us do the sadhana, is making us remember the Lord, do the japa, do the puja. So He will not let us The Guru Tattva will not let us rest in peace till we have merged back into Him, or till we have recognized that we are not other than Him. And then all doing will stop. Or it may continue. It doesn't matter, because now you have reached the, you have recognized yourself to be that infinite blissful principle. The friendship kills the friend, because the real friendship is where there is friendliness, but not the limitation of a friend. What is limitation of a friend? That I am friend to you because you listen to me, and those who don't listen to me, they are not my friends. Is it that way? Those who call me, I call them back. Those who don't call me, I will never call them. So, who is Guru Tattva? He who is friendly to all. Because for the Guru Tattva, all is He. There is nothing outside of Him. So, without any activity, without any deliberation, He is friendly to all. Just like water is friendly to all the waves. It is not an enemy of any wave. But when we become friendly, we become friendly to a particular form. We become friendly to a particular idea. We become friendly to a particular memory. We become friendly to a certain way of thinking. Then we are not open to others. So what is happening? We are constricting. We are contracting. We have to expand. But instead, in that friendliness, we are contracting. So here, he is saying, because the real friendship is where there is friendliness, but not the limitation of a friend. Limitation of a friend comes from, he is my friend, he is my enemy. What is the life of the disciple which the Guru kills? So, till he sucks life out of the disciple, what is the life that he is sucking out of the disciple? That's the question. And in answer, it is the sense of otherness. That is what he sucks out of the disciple. Think, it's not very difficult. Sleep also does the same. All sense of otherness, all divisions, all differences, all sense of identity, that I am a man, woman, I am a husband, wife, brother, sister, etc. I have to do this. All your activity, all your aspirations, ambitions can be only for the other. So that sense of otherness is killed by the Guru Tattva, just like the sleep also does that. See? So it is the sense of otherness, that he is a Shishya, and arrogant and ignorant, and the Guru is all knowing and beyond reach. It is this strong sense of individuality, the ego, that the Guru destroys again and again. How? It happens only to those who are available, not for everyone. So whether when the student comes to the teacher and See, when I was in the ashram, one day I made the mistake. What mistake I did? Swamiji used to, okay, there was no fear in me with regards to Swamiji. Others were afraid of him, but I was not. So I used to go and call him. He used to have headaches. I used to call. And one day, in the early first 2-3 months only, he called me for something. Or I went to call him that the time for the class is there and please, everyone is waiting. But that time one of the students had become sick and he was in the hospital. He was from Sydney. And at that time he said, go and call this person, this brahmachari. I went and called. I was supposed to go and call. And then he said, and tell brahmachari this so and so that he has to go and spend the time with this sick person. And I opened my mouth out of familiarity because of, I am whatever. And I took it for granted and I gave him a suggestion. And the suggestion was that Swamiji, the person who is in the hospital, he is close to this person and not the person that you have suggested. Just like that, this is what we do. Swamiji, you don't know, or I say that you don't know, try this, do this. He didn't ask me, but I gave him the suggestion. And what is the treatment I got after that? 3 months he did not speak to me. 3 months. If he has to tell me, because I used to do the audio, I used to record his talks, that was while listening. He never used to tell me directly. He'll tell someone, Brahmachari, so and so, please tell the one who is that he should increase the volume or decrease the volume or fix the... Never directly. See? And I was initially, you are full of yourself. So you think, why, what did I do? Where am I wrong? Where? And he will not even look at me for 3 months. Not even look at me. See? What was the reason? Did he hate me? No. Did he dislike? No. Then what was that for? Treatment for? So that this putting your nose where it is not required, when not asked, I must get out of that habit. And that went away. that one treatment was enough. So now, until asked, no suggestion. And even if asked, no, I have got no suggestion. So you know the best. See? But if he asks, I have to say something. But it is in the manner, Swamiji, you know the best, but I feel this is the way. In the end, it's Swamiji's decision. See? But that was one lesson. And it was not to put me down, it was not to to make me miserable. It was only for one purpose and one purpose alone. And that is to stop me to purify me, to come back, to make me understand where I am going wrong, without him telling me where I am going wrong. I must come to know where I am going wrong in my approach to life. See, scriptures are telling us again and again and again. But we don't. We have questions. Swamiji tell us this, Swamiji tell us that. We were also like that. But first class he said, I will not answer any questions. And this example, this incident that happened, eventually I went so deep within myself to find out where did I commit the wrong. And when it dawned upon me, it was liberation. And the moment it dawned, within few days, some incident happened, I'll tell you another time, and then he started talking. So same way, the self within us, the Guru Tattva within us, it is not against us. It is not purposely putting us in misery. No. It is making us go through, giving us all the experiences of life so that we fall back into it. We come to realize that we are the unchanging one. We are the substratum. That is why all the experiences are coming in our life. No experience that we are having is meted out to us to make us miserable. But we are not ready to learn. Remember the previous verse? Guru Tattva is the ability to learn from every action, every situation, every event, every experience. We are not learning. We are holding on to our fort that I am like this, accept it or get out. I am me. It is this sense of otherness that he is a shishya. So from a disciple, that I am a student, oh Guru, pahimam, pahimam. See? I am your disciple, I am your Swamiji, oh Gurudev, Gurudev, Gurudev. Making his life miserable. Shishya makes the life of Guru miserable. Shishya makes the life of Guru miserable. So what is the journey for the Shishya here? To recognize that he is not an individual. Then who is he? He is the substratum, he is the self. And when that happens, it will happen. You cannot make it happen, it has to happen. Just like sleep happens, abidance in the Guru Tattva, abidance in the self happens. And when that happens, then the Guru Tattva in the Guru and the Guru Tattva in the Shishya is the same. And after that, outside, the Guru-disciple, for people, the Guru-disciple relationship will continue. Just like Jnaneshwar Maharaj is continuing to accept Nivritti Nath, his elder brother, as the Guru. But within himself, he knows there is no difference between him and me. See how beautiful? But that is not leading to arrogance. That is not leading to, now I know, don't need this Guru. Now his job is over, so I can discard him. Why? I am independent, I am Swatantra. Swatantrata doesn't mean discarding. See? And from this angle you look at this Amrit Anubhav. That even though Jnaneshwar Maharaj is realized, is established in the substratum, yet every verse in Bhagavad Gita especially, here also, every thought that is presented, every chapter that begins, it only begins by remembering his Guru. that only by the grace of the Guru these words are coming out, these thoughts are being presented, and yet he is ever established in the Guru Tattva. That humility, that gratitude is what is keeping him there. It is this strong sense of individuality, the ego, that the Guru destroys again and again. And this is how we have become successful. The principle is the same. The teacher there is the Guru Maharaj is teaching the Shishya, the self, the Guru Tattva within is teaching the individual by continuously coming across as the various experiences, so that this individual fellow starts thinking about the infinite fellow within, with the infinite principle within. Till when this will go on? Till when will this pounding of experiences go on? Till when will the correction by the Guru as regards to the disciple will go on? Till when this treatment will be meted out? Till the disciple does not realize he is none other than the Guru Tattva. Till this individual does not realize he is the self. The moment he realizes he is the self, from that moment onwards, the experiences that are coming to him have got no impact on him. Why? As the self, everything is he. So now he is not in convulsions, he is not in reaction, he is not in happy or miserable condition with regards to what the world is throwing. World is throwing as long as you think the world is separate. But as the self, from the self point of view, I alone am. There is nothing else. So what is world? Imagined on the self. What is individuality? Imagined on the self. What is totality? Imagined on the self. Just like what is husband? Imagination on the man. Superimposition on the man. What is brother? Superimposition on the man. What is father? Superimposition on the man. Same way, this Jeev Jagat Ishwar is a superimposition, an imagination, a phenomena. As if, that important word is very, as if, on the infinite self. Actually nothing is happening, yet there seems to be something happening. There is nothing happening in water. Water is always water. But yet we see the waves, yet we see the tides, yet we see the froth, yet we see the ice. But actually it is all water only. Because we see wave, water, ocean, froth, tide, ice, doesn't mean there is something else has been created other than water. It is still water, H2O. But what is our take of this world? I am the Jiva. World is very difficult to live. Oh my God, why this is happening? Why Corona is happening? Why I can't fly back to India? Why is the ill health happening? Why am I losing my memory? Why am I getting hungry? See? Because we have taken the world, we have taken the individual to be the reality. Individual means consciousness identified with one particular body is individuality. See? We have to, and once we take the position of the infinity, which is always expressing, that is all that there is, then the vision changes. So right now we are plentifully available to the world, to the names and forms. Now change that, just like you become plentifully available to the ignorance called sleep, and you don't know what sleep is. So you have the ability, become plentifully available to the infinite consciousness that you are essentially, even though you, and here is there is no question that I don't know, you know you are. Sleep you don't know, but the self you know, because it is every moment you are the self. But which one? Gaunatma, Mithyatma, or the Mukhyatma? The secondary self, father, mother, daughter, sister, or the primary self, that I am the body, I am the jiva, I was born, I am going to die? Or are you the absolute self, which is supporting these two? These two are imagined on the absolute one. It is supporting the expression of the other two, but itself is never contaminated by the other two. Be that all three, the Gaunatma, Mithyatma, and Mukhyatma, they are the same. So which I you want to be? Which self do you want to be? You want to be the husband self or the wife self, or you want to be the body self, the individual, or you want to be the... So here Guru Tattva or the Guru Maharaj is continuously prodding the student, the disciple, to come back to his essential nature. Come back to his essential nature. This is the Guru's technique of totally removing the biggest obstacle in the Shishya's progress, his individuality. Today's meditation was that we want freedom from I. We don't want freedom of I. We want freedom from I. If you want freedom of I, you are getting that freedom every night in sleep. You don't know who you are. But next day, again the I pops up when you wake up. Freedom from I is what the great saints and sages have reached. See? So this is the Guru's technique of totally removing the biggest obstacle in the Shishya's progress. And the biggest obstacle is not the wife, is not the husband, is not the children, is not the world, is not the God. It's the sense of individuality. Pange mat lena mere se. You don't know who I am. The individuality, that I am just one among the many. I am this body. If I don't breathe, I will die. I was born on one day. I will be dying one day. And I'm trying to do everything to postpone that death. I'm doing everything to postpone that death. Probably we come to the spiritual path only initially out of fear. So we want to postpone death, that's why we want to become immortal. But we have to recognize what? Death is a principle, it is happening every moment. Oh, I never looked at it that way. Yeah, every breath is dying, every heartbeat is dying. every thought is dying, every emotion is dying, every cell in your body is dying. Are, yeah, that is true. But are you dying? No. Who is this fellow who is not dying? Be that. Meaning, who is this fellow who is not coming and going? He is the permanent substratum. He is the infinite one. For this purpose, all the scriptures have come. For this purpose, we are studying this text also. The words of Jnaneshwar Maharaj, his experience of realization. The purpose of human birth is for this only. To give up individuality and recognize that we are the infinite one who has never come and gone. Others, you are lost in this soul business. Having done this, does that mean that the disciple now becomes so great that he becomes the guru? Or, now the self in the Guru Maharaj and the self in the disciple has recognized that I am the same principle, the substratum. No arrogance, no. He doesn't, that he becomes the Guru. If he becomes the Guru, if any becoming happens, the disciple is still short of abiding in the infinite principle. It's dissolution of all becoming. Just like if the man is becoming a husband, if the man is becoming a brother or father or friend, as long as he is becoming, he is forgetting that he is the man essentially. Oh, he says, okay, now I am not the father, I am not the husband, I am not the brother, I am not the friend. I have become the one without any role. I have become one without any role. I have become free of all those roles. This is also becoming, that I have become free. Because this is also a mental projection that I have become free. Become. So the teacher says, no. The Guru does not allow that to happen either. So long as he was a disciple, he was in duality by his grace. By his grace, the Guru helped him to come out of this duality. If he now allows him to acquire the status of a Guru, the Shishya will again fall into the trap of duality and get lost again. So this becoming has to be destroyed completely, dissolved completely. If I say I have become free and a further correction is not done to such a disciple, then there is every possibility that this fellow will go back to become the father, the husband, and so on. Such a fine operation has to be done by the Guru. Such a fine operation is being done by the scriptures. The Shishya will again fall into the trap of duality and get lost again. So there is neither Guru nor Shishya. When the disciple comes to the substratum, from that point there is no Shishya. From the waves point of view, oh my Lord ocean, please help me to become one with you. Please help me become one with the infinite waters. And once the wave has become the water, then from that point of view, there is no ocean, there is no wave, there is no droplets. See? Then it's a thought-free realization that I am all. Thought-free. Because all differences have dissolved. All the sense of otherness. And why did the sense of otherness begin in the first place? Which you took to be real and became an individual? Because you accepted that you are only this body. Because this consciousness accepted that this is the body. If this space accepts that it is only in this space, in this room, then it will seek liberation from this constriction of the walls and want to become free. But the nature of the space within and the nature of the space without, it's the same. It's not different. Only we have to realize this. Once the wave realizes that it is the water, from that moment on, the waveness goes away, the oceanness also goes away. The totality and the individuality, the micro and the macro, which are expressing only in the mind, both of them vanish. Because now this mind has merged into the consciousness. In other words, mind is nothing but consciousness, is nothing but that Guru Tattva. But when it is thinking as an individual, he fails to realize that it is always been the Guru Tattva. So here he says that if he allows him to acquire the status of a Guru, the Shishya will again fall into the trap of duality and get lost again. So there is neither Guru nor Shishya. So duality is no longer the norm. For individuality, duality alone is the norm. For the Guru Maharaj, oneness is the norm, and that oneness is without thought. It is the nature. The duality ends once and for all. In this way, the destruction of the individuality is the only way to discover the oneness, which is the Guru. So, destruction or duality, dissolution or duality, sublimation or duality, whatever you may say. Chitta vritti nirodha. But we are not forcefully bringing about chitta vritti nirodha. It is coming. We are not forcefully bringing about chitta vritti nirodha when we are thinking about sleep. But without chitta vritti nirodha, sleep cannot come. Isn't it? Isn't that our experience? So why, when it comes to spirituality, we want to force our mind to become empty? See, they're wrong. Don't force anything. Let it be a natural glide. For that natural glide to happen, we have to become completely convinced that we are that infinite. essentially. That duality keeps the Jiv Jagat Ishwar concept alive, abiding in the self as the self. Then all these three, they vanish. In this way, the destruction of the individuality is the only way to discover the oneness. You cannot remain a devotee and be surrendered to God. You cannot remain a waker and go to sleep. You cannot remain a man and be a husband consciously. When you become husband, you forget you are a man. Think. So in this way, this is individuality. When we maintain our sense of personality, sense of existence, that I am someone. And whether we do rituals, individuality is maintained. Do yoga, individuality is maintained. Do kundalini, individuality is maintained, because there is a doer. Kriya yoga, individuality is maintained. Japa sadhana, the person who is doing the japa, the individuality is maintained. As long as you call yourself a devotee, individuality is maintained, because you are keeping the Lord separate to yourself. And if we are following the Gyan Marg, if we are only obsessed with the thoughts of the scriptures, individuality is maintained. The purpose of all the scriptures in our life is because we have accepted ourselves to be the individual, and to remind us that we are the infinite. But we get identified with the scriptures, we get identified with the religion, we get identified with the ashrams, we get identified because the whole edifice of our life is based upon identification with the body. See? So that identification with the body is percolating, permeating every other identity, every other contact that you are making. And that becomes our norm. Realization is dissolution, destruction of individuality. Simple and straight. And it does not mean suicide. Doesn't mean suicide of the individuality. The individual self comes to realize that it is the infinite one. Suicide was escapism. It was an escape of the I, because the world was too much for it to handle. Here the approach is different. The I, which we are right now, if we are considering the world is too much to handle, or I want to explore the world but I cannot explore the whole world, I don't know from where it begins and where it ends, then how do I? Good, come. We'll show you how to do it. Understand that this I is the infinite I. It is the substratum. And once you get there, the whole world with all its secrets and mysteries will be available to you. If you want. If you don't want, it's still okay. You are complete. Now you are not at the mercy of the world. Now you are the master of the world. Think. This is the reformation. Well, we don't even want to use the word reformation. I is I as long as it is in association with something. I is, we call ourselves I as long as it is in association with something. It has got identified with something. It is attached to something. I am body, I am husband, I am man, I am woman, I am something, I am something, I am something. I am awake, I am sleeping, I am so many years old, I am fat, I am thin. When you give up this association of I am with something, then becoming will stop. But we don't know how to do it. So we say, I am infinite, I am eternal, I am Satchidanand Swarup. So I, this individual, is made to contemplate, think of itself as the infinite principle. And when it keeps thinking, and once he becomes totally convinced and gets absorbed in that contemplation, in that, and accepts it completely, then the I dissolves. Then the I dissolves. If this is not happening consciously in our meditation, then we are going the wrong way. If the japa sadhana is not leading to the dissolution of the identity of the individual identity, then we are going the wrong way. If pranayama is not leading to dissolution of individuality, we are going the wrong way. So yoga, physical yoga is done so that we come to pranayam. Pranayam is done so that we come to mind. And on the other hand, become free of the body identification. Mind contemplates so that it is free of, it is contemplating on the substratum, and on the other side it has become free of the body identification, and it is not even aware of the breath coming in and going out. If this is not taking place, because we want a journey, because we are individual, if you think there is a journey, then this is the journey. But we are lost in japa only. We get panic if we have not done our japa for that day, or if we have not done the yoga. It's all because of identification. The duality ends once and for all. In this way, the destruction of the individuality is the only way to discover the oneness. The destruction of individuality, the dissolution of individuality. Nobody can come and touch your head and the individuality will go away. No scripture can make your individuality go away. No scripture can make it go away. No words by Guru can go away, make it go away. But Guru is telling, the scriptures are speaking. The world is continuously throwing experiences at you, but we are not ready to learn. Our connotation of those words that Guru Maharaj here in the as Jnaneshwar Maharaj, we are listening, but we want to collect information. No. Instead of collecting information right now, every word must be interacted. What is its purport? What is it indicating? What it is saying, that destruction of individuality. Yeah, that only I can do. or that has to come about, not I can do. Individuality, I cannot do destruction of individuality. So then, if we are, as a result of interacting with the scriptures and Mahatmas, if we are inspired to know the truth to the exclusion of everything else, in spite of doing work in your daily life, but in the back of the mind continuously we are inspired to know, inspired to be, then it will happen within this lifetime. This Guru Shishya, this Guru Tattva, which is Satyam Jnanam Anantam, is further expounded. Visheshatse ninave atmatva na sahave kim bahuna na vahve kona hi tsayaya. He says, the Guru does not like to be specified with any qualities, to such an extent that he does not like being referred to as even Atma. He cannot be referred to by any names. Then why do we use the word Atma, Paramatma, Ishwar? When it comes to totality, Ishwar. Why do we use the word Satchit Ananda? This is done for the benefit of the individual, for the benefit of the Shishya, for the benefit of the seeker, because he thinks he is limited, he thinks he is an individual, he thinks, where is he thinking? He is not thinking in the Atma, he is thinking in the mind. He is not thinking in the body, he is not thinking in the world, he is not thinking in the breath, he is thinking in the mind. And how is he thinking? Through thoughts. So the whole experience of this diversity called Jagat is only known by the individual by way of thoughts in the mind. See? And if we have to remove the thoughts from the mind, then something of some other quality is not going to help. We need to use thoughts to remove thoughts. You can use breath to remove thoughts only temporarily. They will come back again. You can use your body. Go and bang your head against the wall for 2-3 times. Temporarily there will be no thoughts. Or you stop breathing for some time. Temporarily there will be no thoughts. But they will rush back into the mind. But we don't want this temporary removal of thoughts, and that is happening every night when we go to sleep. Temporarily the thoughts are removed, and again next morning the same thing again. The rigmarole begins. No, we want to remove this obsession with thinking once and for all. We are not against thinking. We are not against thinking. But we want the right thinking. And as long as I think, if I am coming to this conclusion that I think, therefore I am, we want to change this conclusion of the mind. To what? I am, therefore thinking is taking place. For this shift to take place within the mind, initial stages, the only way is I have to repeat, I am, therefore thinking happens, instead of repeating, I think, therefore I am. I am an individual is a thought, I am an individual. It has to be replaced with I am Satchidanand Swarup. Only this thought can replace another thought. Only a thought can replace another thought. But we want to replace in the mind, the limited thoughts have to be replaced with unending thoughts. So when I say I am an individual, I am a man, the thought ends at this form. The thought doesn't go beyond this form, because after this form, the laptop form is there. I cannot say I am the man also means it is inclusive of the laptop. Not possible. But when I say I am infinite, where will you go and end? I am eternal. Where is the boundary? I am unborn. Where is the boundary? Where I am deathless. Where is the boundary? I am Sat, eternal existence. Where is the boundary? No boundary. I am eternal consciousness, the all-knowing principle. Where is the boundary? No boundary. Think. Absorb it right now. The more you become available to this knowledge, the more unknowingly the transformation, mind will be transformed, and it will automatically keep contemplating on that infinite till it dissolves by itself. So the principle is thought can only be replaced by a thought. Right now, what we are doing, all the limited thoughts, finite thoughts, which represent individuality, are being replaced by thoughts which are also finite. Sat, the word is finite, S-A-T. Chit, C-H-I-T, it is limited, begins with C, ends with T. But what it represents is infinite. The word man represents finitude. The word self represents the subtler than the subtlest principle within this organism. See? Understand this principle. No amount of doing is going to take you anywhere. So the Guru does not like to be specified with any qualities to such an extent that he does not like being referred to as even Atma. He cannot be referred to by any means. And once the mind has dissolved in the contemplation of the infinite, because it was thinking of the infinite. Aham Satchidanandoham, Aham Shivoham. And just like I am sleepy, I am sleepy, I am sleepy, it goes to sleep. Aham Shivoham, Aham Shivoham, Aham Shivoham, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi. Anoraniyan Mahato Mahiyan. I am the larger than the largest and the smaller than the smallest. Aham Satchidanand Swarupoham. It keeps contemplating, and in that contemplation the mind dissolves. Another word for dissolution, gets destroyed. All duality, that I am something. When I say I am man, I am is the conscious principle and man is this body with its attributes. But infinite has no attributes. Eternity has got no attributes. All pervasiveness has got no attributes. So what is, When I say I am infinite, I am Sat, I am Chit, I am Anand, I am all pervasive, what are you identifying with? Yourself. And in that, once the individuality is dissolved, from there onwards, no words are required, no concepts are required, no conviction is required, no emotion is required, no doing is required, no experience is required, because it's an experienceless experience. It's your natural state. हाँ, मजा आ जाता है. It is our natural state. And there no thoughts are, no words can qualify it. Then why did we use the word Sat Chit Anand? Why did we use the word infinite? We use the word infinite to cancel finitude. We use the word Sat, existence, to cancel non-existence. We use the word Chit, consciousness, to cancel the word unconsciousness. We use the word bliss, infinite bliss, to cancel miseries. We use the word unborn to cancel the word birth. We use the word deathless to cancel the word death. So these words in the contemplation are used only to cancel. But the words deathless, birthless, eternal, all-pervasive, infinite, they don't lead to any conclusion. Conclusion is for the individual. Experience is for the individual. But contemplating on this, the individual dissolves. Then for whom will be the... If individual himself is not there, then what will be for whom? That is our natural state. The Guru is so non-specific that he does not tolerate any adjectives to be added to him. What is the adjective that you have added to the man that you are? I am a husband, I am a father, I am so many years old, so many adjectives. I am intelligent, I am wise, I am this profession, etc. So many adjectives. I am a good man, I am a bad man. But to this tattva, this infinite tattva, this essence, this Guru principle, no adjectives can be added. What are the adjectives that we have used for this infinite principle? That it is Sat, Chit, Anand, that it is all pervasive, that is Bhaumya, it is Nitya, Shuddha, Buddha, Mukta. These are all adjectives. No word can qualify it. Word can indicate it, but it cannot qualify it. Because words are specific. What they are indicating is unspecific. Man is a word in our mind. It is specific. And what it is indicating is this body. The word infinite is specific in our mind because mind can only think in specificity. So the word is specific, but what that word is indicating, representing, is non-specific. He does not tolerate any adjectives to be added to him. He is one's own essential Paramatma Tattva. So this the self that I am, it is its own self. It doesn't need any support from anything. It doesn't need knowledge from anything. It doesn't need confirmation from anything. Who? You and me. This self that we are. This self does not need any confirmation. And how do we get confirmation? How do we get confirmation in our daily life? Through experience, isn't it? So how do I know this is hot? Experience. Oh, I burned my finger. Oh, this is spicy. How do I know this is spicy? Just by looking at the color of the red chili, you don't know it is spicy. You take it, put it in the mouth. It is spicy. Through experience we come to know. But what is this reality? Which can't be called reality also. It is experience-less experience. It is knowing-less knowing. See? He is one's own essential Paramatma Tattva. Self is self. Because of this, self is. Because I did sadhana, so the self is. Because I contemplated, so the self is. Because I was thinking, because I am thinking of Paramatma, or I am thinking of the infinite self, therefore I realized infinite self. No support. Not because of anything. It is as it is. He is not specific. Satyam or existence is the non-specific manifestation of the truth. So he is non-specific. What does non-specific mean? You believe, if I say, do you exist? I'm asking a question. Do you exist? You'll say, yes, I exist. When you say, I exist, you are existing as this specific body, this specific personality, this specific age, this specific form. See? But this Paramatma Tattva, this Guru Tattva, this Guru principle, he is non-specific. So here in this example, yes, I exist, and immediately my thoughts are on the body, on the birth, on the parents. So all supports are taken. But see, everyone is saying that. I am also saying I exist. You are also saying you exist, all of you. So has existence become many? Has existence become many? So existence with respect to body, identified with body, becomes specific existence, isn't it? But existence as such is non-specific. It is the common denominator for everything. The smaller than the smallest or the larger than the largest. It is the common denominator for everything in this creation. And where is the creation? In the mind. It is the common denominator for every thought. What? Existence. That existence is non-specific. Thoughts are specific. Existence is non-specific. See? The space is giving accommodation to the entire cosmos. The planets, the solar systems, the galaxies, all of them are specific. But the space is non-specific. It cannot be contained. It has got no parameter. It has no beginning or end. I'm giving you the examples of space so you can compare, because that you can see, अरे कहाँ से शुरू होता है? We don't know where it begins and where it ends. So space is non-specific. Everything else in space which it is giving accommodation to is non-specific. Water is non-specific. Ocean is specific. Wave is specific. Exactly the same way. Existence is non-specific, and that existence which is non-specific is my true nature. If you take that position, then everything is happening in me. It's not outside of me. Think. Specific existence is the manifestation of limitations and not of the absolute. Specific existence is the manifestation of limitation. I already said that existence with respect to body is specific, but existence as itself is non-specific. Space, we use the word room space. The word space is there. We use the word house space. The word space is there. We use the word Victorian space, Australian space, Earth space, the solar space, the solar system space, the galaxy space. But are they all different? Space word is common denominator. You cannot have a house space without the word space. So that space is non-specific. Then what is specific? When it is co-joined with house, and we are calling it house space, then that house is specific. That country is specific. That earth is specific. That solar system is specific. That galaxy is specific. Similarly, that thought is specific. Specific existence is the manifestation of limitations and not of the absolute. In Panchadashi, mention is made of two types of existences, general and specific. Example, the three states of consciousness are in the realm of relativity, whereas in and through the three states, I is, and this is I, is not limited by any of the three states. How beautiful! Waker is I, dreamer is I, sleeper is I, and the one who knows that these three come and go every day is also I. Question is, which one you are accepting yourself to be? The waker, the dreamer, the sleeper, or the observer, the witness? That shift only you can make. No scriptures can make it happen for you. No guru, physical guru, can ever make it happen for you. He can only give instructions. No God can make it happen for you. He can only give you instructions. And the instruction is always directly proportional to your ability. So if you are listening to this discourse at this moment, that means somewhere within our bosom we are available to this. Our mind wants to be exposed to this knowledge. It's not by chance, it's not coincidence. But here we feel as if we are in the, I won't say seventh heaven, as if we are the self. We are so in tune with ourselves. And after the satsang is over, we are back to being the waker. See? That's the disservice we are doing to ourselves, not to anyone else. That is the disservice we are doing to ourselves. Nobody is saying don't go and do whatever is. That is how life is expressing. Let it express. You have to eat dosa, go and eat dosa. You have to correct your children, go and correct your children. But don't forget who you are. That you are the non-specific. And the moment we come to this non-specific principle, then we will let everything be as it is. Then everything is perfect. The one who is correcting is the individual. Non-specific doesn't become hungry. Non-specific doesn't correct. Non-specific doesn't want liberation. Non-specific doesn't get bounded, doesn't have bondage. Non-specific doesn't need scriptures. Non-specific doesn't do any rituals. Non-specific doesn't do any sadhana. Why? It is complete. It is complete. So remain in that contemplation of the non-specific, by being it, and the more we accept ourselves to be that non-specific general principle, the Guru Tattva, the infinite self, to that extent our urge to do something in this world, the urge for security in this world will keep diminishing, because security, wealth, relationships, possessions, they are only to prop up the individuality. Only to prop up the individuality. This is the individual's journey, because he is afraid. He needs to be secure. He needs to have plenty. But once we have realized we are the infinite one, nothing is outside, then what will we need to secure our infinitude? Think. Think, Baba. Out of fear, individual is trying to do all this to secure itself. This is liberation, here and now, as we are listening to it. Wow. Therefore, the Guru does not like to be referred to by any of the qualities, not even by the term Atma. Because the moment Atma is mentioned, Anatma is born. So what I told you before, the moment word Sat is used, Asat comes about. The moment Chit is used, a Chit comes about. The moment Ananda is used, Dukkha comes about. The moment you use top, the word bottom comes automatically. If you say front, automatically back is already created. The moment you say man, woman is already there. See? So, words are only in the creation. So understand, we are using such words so that we shoot out of this gravity of the mind. Therefore, the Guru does not like to be referred by any of the qualities, not even by the term Atma, because the moment Atma is mentioned, Anatma is born. Furthermore, confusion is raised as to which Atma is being referred to, Jivatma or the Paramatma. And the moment words come, options come in the mind. Options means words. If I have got, when we go for bhiksha, whatever comes you eat. But you watch yourself. If you go to a buffet, so many dishes are there, and you get confused. Which one should I begin from? Should I eat for appetizer? Should I have pasta, or for appetizer should I have golgappa? Main course, which one? Yeah, pasta was main course, but I had it in as an appetizer. Main course, what will I have? Should I eat Indian or should I eat Chinese or should I eat pizza? But pizza is also pasta. Pasta appetizer, pasta main course. अरे यार मजा नहीं आएगा. Buffet है, I have to take advantage of everything that is there. अरे तेरी की हो गया मोटा. We get confused when more variety is there. No variety, everything is clear. Whatever comes our way, we take it. Same way, when we accept ourselves as Atma, then Anatma comes about. If the Guru Maharaj, he doesn't want to be called any names. We are good at giving names to everyone, no? He is intelligent, he is smart, he is savvy, he is stupid, he is bewkoof. We keep, as we go through life, everyone we have put a definition. That is the type of person that is. Guru Tattva doesn't want to be defined by any word. We'll just do this paragraph and conclude. The Guru cannot be referred to by any names because any reference cannot but be in the field of relativity. And where is relativity? In the mind. Where is absolute? The word absolute is in the mind, but what it represents is beyond the mind. At the same time, it is the substratum of the mind. So the Guru cannot be referred to by any means because means supports, because any reference cannot but be in the field of relativity, in the realm of relativity. To remove all traces of doubt, the individuality that the disciple is to be removed. So, all relativity is for the individual. And this individual is imagining the relativity of individual and total. Total doesn't mean that you have gone out of relativity. You can fall back to individuality again. You want to go to heaven, come back to earth again. You want to go to Satyalok, come back to earth again. You want to go to sleep, come back to become the waker again. Cycle goes on. No, that is not what we are talking about. We want to remove, destroy, dissolve this individuality, on the support of which the entire multiplicity, the entire duality is standing. So we are shifting the vision of this individual from duality to the unifying principle, the Guru Tattva. And once he accepts himself completely without a thought as that infinite principle, from there onwards no specificity, no relativity is ever possible. We'll read the rest of it in our next class. ॐ पूर्णमदा पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ. Just sit quietly for a minute and then we'll end. शांति 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 हरि ओम.